does not feel appreciated in the area of his presence, he becomes a version of a man that he can give you and still survive. That version of him is silent, frustrated, sharp with his words, short-tempered, non-communicative, and I promise you, you will not like that version.
Okay, so I'm actually at work and I just had a thought about something when it pertains to this episode, right? Some of y'all probably already heard it, but anyway, I just want to emphasize the fact that I don't expect anyone to move how I move. I don't hold anything against anybody. I don't like have no regrets in relationships. I wouldn't change any. I'm lying. I would change some shit if I could. You know, for certain people, whatever. But at the end of the day, I appreciate the relationships I have, in the relationships I have with even the people that I, might have spoke on a little bit in this episode. But I don't expect anyone to move how I move or go about things the way I go about things. But I do feel like if you are a friend to someone and you have love for that person and you love that person for real, you will consider the way that you make them feel and you adjust accordingly. I'm not saying you change your whole shit just to fit theirs, but if you care, if you really care for a person, you love a person, if you're making them feel a certain type of way, why not try to make them not feel that way? And that's all I'm saying. But I hope y'all enjoy the episode.
I can't start this without saying that or acknowledging the fact that a lot of our trauma is handed to us through other people. So there is blame to be handed out. I'm just saying, a lot of times people who have caused that trauma, we can't have those conversations with them. So, we just have to train our minds to do whatever we needed to do for us to get past that without the help of the person that caused us that trauma, admitting and apologizing for causing that trauma. So this whole episode is about, honestly, it's about, just the things that led up to me finding my peace. Yeah, come catch these waves.
Hey, yo, what's going on, world? It's your homeboy Cuff with the BrainSurfin podcast. And today is a random ass episode, to be honest with you. I have nothing particular to really talk about, right? But I was just sitting here thinking, and I was like, while I'm thinking and my thoughts are kind of bouncing around, let me kind of do a brain surfing through the topics type episode real quick. But so I was thinking about myself. I like to self-reflect. I like to be self-aware. That I got to get better with self-care. You feel me? But I'm just sitting here and just trying to think like the things I may have went through that made me who I am, you know? And I had a situation this weekend, we went to a funeral and family members got into it. I remain level-headed and I have not always been that way. Um, I was dating someone and they actually put their hands on me. I never hit a woman before, but in the past, I feel like I would have at least pushed her off or something. Like if I'm being honest, you know what I mean? I would have pushed her off me or something, but like I ain't do none of that. This incident was like years ago, but like still like I ain't do none of that. Um, I was at work doing security, and this white dude who you could tell sometimes white boys just super privileged or maybe look at black people a certain way. He was one of them, and he made it pretty clear, but it didn't really bother me. It didn't get me out of my body. You know what I mean? Like I remain calm, cool, and collected. Let me light this blunt real quick. Now, I have went out of my way ever since my marriage ended. Let me kind of give y'all some backstory, matter of fact. So, when I was married, my wife was the type of person who would, post on social media and everything and make it seem like everything was just a-okay with us when, even when shit was rocky as hell, even when it was like, yo, we on the verge of breaking up, like, And I'm not saying when shit's going bad, you should be telling everybody your business, but when it's good, you shouldn't do that neither. I feel like you're better off keeping everything in home, other than maybe close friends or family members. When there's issues, you want to speak about those issues to someone, and you use them as an outlet. But putting stuff on social media, whether good or bad, in my opinion, is never the thing to do, right? So she went forever putting things out there to make it seem like we were all so perfect, even when we weren't. When things were all messed up, she still did that, right? So from the outside looking in, everybody thought everything was okay. Now, when we got to the point where we was done, we didn't officially break up. When we got to the point where we were done mentally, her posts about our relationship started to change. Nothing changed with our relationship, but her posts changed, right? She started to say like this kind of hint around like I was cheating and just all kind of she told family members I put my hands on her before. Like we broke up. She called my auntie, lying with a whole sob story. You know what I mean? It's the same auntie that she used to act like she was sick or tired every time it was time to go over there to see my family. But then right when we leave, get in the car, ooh, babe, wanna go eat some food? Go have a drink? Go play bowling? I'm like, go to the arcade? I'm like, bitch, you just said you was tired as hell. Now all of a sudden you smell some motherfucking arcade and bowling and shit. Like, you wasn't even trying to be around my auntie. But then with everything, so I'm saying all of this to say,
What's going on, Brain Surfers? If you want to support the podcast, you can definitely leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you listen to my podcast. I am on all podcast listening platforms, including YouTube. For the algorithms, just for my sake, it really helps the podcast, helps the show, and for people to really see the support when you guys like, comment, share, leave a review, so forth and so on. And last and least, if you ever want to hit the Cash App, we gotta have it. That's the Cash App. Please and thank you. Like, love, comment, share, subscribe to BrainSurfin Podcast. Thanks for catching these waves.
that when you're judging from the outside looking in, it's hard to tell what is really going on. So this, in my opinion, you really shouldn't speak on it. Went to a family reunion a couple days ago, and some things got brought up. A couple things, right? This is a couple days ago. Wait, no, matter, this was yesterday. I'm sure this was actually yesterday. Things were said, and I had no feeling, not much of any feeling towards it. Not much of. It's like I don't know. This is like before I was even born. I don't know nothing about none of this. Like I can't speak to something I don't know. You know what I mean? So I just really feel like this came with me finding peace. Like I really found peace. A lot of these things followed it. Now, one thing I cannot really get over, and this is my auntie is like one of my favorite people in the world. I don't necessarily have a family member that I want to say I'm like close with. Like I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? But I'm such a loner that my being close to someone may look different than the normal being close to someone. So I'm looking at it like, we talk multiple times a week, so forth and so on, at least even twice a week. I have no family member like that. Like all my family members, we talk like most of us really don't. It was once every couple months. And then the one I talk to a little bit more regularly, it'd be like once, twice a month. It's not really a thing like that. Other than my mom who reaches out probably like, it's random, but I talk to her multiple times a month because she reaches out. She know I'm bad with actually reaching out to people whether I love them or not, right? My family hit me up or not hit me up, it doesn't really make me feel any type of way. Like I don't feel like, oh, they don't hit me up, they don't care about me, they don't love me. I don't feel like that. If they did hit me up every single day, I wouldn't feel like they love me anymore. I mean, even yeah, I wouldn't feel like they love me anymore because they are staying in contact with me. Like that wouldn't do it for me. So the being in contact part is not, regularly in contact. It's not a big deal for me, but I would like to get better at it. The weird thing is, I have noticed that I get certain friends, right, and I feel like they understand me, right, and then it's like I I don't ever want to let that relationship go. Growing up, I never felt understood by anyone other than my stepdad. And he came around when I was like maybe 8 years old or something like that, maybe a little bit younger. I'm not really sure. But yeah, he was the first person that,
Kind of like I didn't have to be anybody other than me. Kind of like I didn't have to feel like I was different or out of place or I was supposed to be a certain type of way.
a lot of times I felt kind of weird, kind of out of place. You know what I'm saying? Like I was from the hood, but I just wasn't like a street dude. I wasn't a super hood dude. You know what I'm saying? So like I just I felt a little out of place, in the area I was growing up in. It made me feel weird and shit, like, cause there wasn't really people like me. It felt like, and maybe there were more people like me, but they didn't feel comfortable being themselves, so they kind of kept that inside. Which maybe I did too, cause I was more of a quiet kid, especially in school. But outside of school, the older I get, the more I talk to friends. I'm still in contact with most of my friends from high school and some from middle school. But they remind me that when we would be out and about, like, nah, bro, you had personality, you was goofy, so forth and so on. But at the end of the day, I was more of a quiet kid, kind of more to myself. I had my little small group of friends. My stepdad was the first person that made me feel, now this is the person that's not family, that made me feel accepted, made me feel okay, made me feel like I was just normal. Like there was nothing about me that was weird. Like I was just Pierre. You know what I mean? Like the beginning stages of me becoming the confident, self-aware person I am now, the beginning stages of that was when my stepdad came into my life. I don't know, it's crazy, man. Like I said, this is like really all off the head. I didn't really put any thought into this episode, but I was just sitting here, just honestly think about some specific friends. Let me. I was thinking about some specific friends, and I was wondering like, why does it seem like when I meet a friend that seems to understand me and kind of get where I'm coming from and not view me as weird or don't view my way of thinking as weird or you know what I'm saying, or in a negative way, like why would I find that I like I like want to hold on to that and just never really want to let it go. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that any person I felt that from I want to fucking marry him. You know what I mean? Like I ain't saying like I'm saying like at the least I want to keep the relationship we have, and it's almost like hard to go without it. Like growing up, I had my stepdad for that. When my mom and stepdad split up, and this is as I'm talking, I think it's coming back to me. The reason why it's like that, because friends are someone who's not family. My stepdad was someone who necessarily was not family, but he was the first one that kind of more, understood me, made me feel comfortable being myself. So I guess when I find these certain types of friends, it reminds me of that feeling, and I just don't want to let it go.
And I hope I'm not sounding like it's just all for me because I feel like as a friend, I'm beneficial to people as well. But in all reality, yeah, like my stepdad was a person who wasn't family and helped me, in early stages, helped me become the man I am today. You know what I'm saying? And like it just keeps me kind of balanced and it's just something I need in my life. You know what I'm saying? Like they always say, man, are you a man, man? Woo, woo, woo. I'm not gonna lie, like, I always kind of need that one or two people in my life that seem to understand me. It just helps me feel like it helps me more, I guess, know my purpose or feel like I have a purpose or like I'm not tripping. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of hard to put in words, but having that person that is unbiased and I can fully be myself with is rare. So when I get it, in all reality, I just don't ever want to lose it. What's going on, world? It's your homeboy Cuffed, and I'm actually adding this portion of the podcast to the podcast after the fact, if that makes sense. But yeah, I just think we all should make a more concerted effort to self-reflect, to be more self-aware, to understand why we may be the reason why we are, and to not just put the blame on others. Because yes, some of our reaction to things is based on stuff that we had may went through when we were younger, and some of those things may have come from other people. I get it, but do what you can to move past your trauma. Do what you can to move past anything that may be holding you back mentally, physically, and or emotionally.
But like I said, this is a random episode. I was just sitting here thinking. I figured, I'm brain surfing. Why not put it down on, wax? But it's your homeboy Cuff, the Brain Surfing Podcast. Thanks for catching these waves.